just went, right, sod you all. I want to, I'm creating a world that's the opposite of the one we live in, where women can explore their sexuality, where they make the first move, they're in charge. And yeah, that's sort of how it all came about. There was no big business plan.
So welcome to Who's Elvis Round Here. This is the podcast where I get to meet lots of amazing leaders around the world and find out what makes them tick and how they create the conditions for their people to be genius. And I am delighted this week to have Emma Sayle with me. Hello, Emma.
Hi, Chris. It's lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you. It's been a while. It's been a long time. We were just having a quick catch up. It's been about 15 years since we spoke last. So great to have you on. So Emma, can you introduce yourself to the listeners?
I am Emma Sayle, CEO, founder of the KK Group, which is all about empowering women from the bedroom to the boardroom. So it's a mix of events and tech and, cruises, loads of different things.
Loads, and doing fantastically from what I see, Emma.
It's great. It's 20 years. It's been a 20-year roller coaster, and every day feels like a startup, to be honest, because it's just launching different things all the time and keeping up with the crazy world we live in, especially as women. And when it comes to women and sexuality, then it's constantly evolving. So it's fun.
Yeah, amazing. 20 years, what an adventure. I remember when it was first, it was just a little nugget of an idea, and now it's, as you say, it's spread into all sorts of different ways. So you must have learnt quite a lot on this journey.
A lot, and it's funny because I say it's sort of because it's been about women and women, the whole thing was women exploring their sexuality, and I was really angry that women couldn't do what men do when it came to sex in like early 20s and stuff. It's kind of matured as I've matured, and the whole business has kind of, got wiser and more deep. There's more depth to it, and more sort of all the workshops and the education side and the community side, and now the midlife women side. And so I kind of say it's grown the way I've grown as a woman, and all the different aspects to it. So into like 3,000 shades of grey when it comes to women and sexuality and motherhood and business, and so it's been a journey for sure.
How very cool. I love that, it's grown as I've grown. And I think that's how business should be, right? Because nothing's static, it's always evolving. And obviously you've spotted lots of different interesting insights and needs, and therefore that's why it's taken from the nugget into what it is today. So look, huge congratulations on what you've achieved. It's amazing. So I would love to learn from you, as I'm sure the listeners would. So what is the story you love to tell that people love to hear?
Do you know what? Because it's so crazy, it's a way, people are just like, why would you start that business? You know what I mean? It's sort of, and how did it start? That's sort of the one every time you're out, and everyone's like, oh, it must be really boring because you've said it for 20 years, but it's not, because it's how it started. It was, as I said, it just grew out of anger, which started as a small kid, of like, well, why can boys do the sport? Why can they climb the trees? Why can they just boys be boys? And we're like, be quiet, you're too bossy, you're too loud, you're too opinionated, and then the hormones happen, and the dating world happens, and sex, and suddenly it's like, hang on a minute, why can boys do exactly what they want, and they're legends and high fives and heroes, but God forbid a woman does anything, with a stranger out at night, or the whole shame and judgment. And to be honest, I was at a wedding in Ibiza and hadn't slept for 3 days, with a very promiscuous group that were quite well known, the Primrose Hill Posse. Do you remember them? And these women like sort of a decade older than me, and I thought they were the most amazing women I've ever seen. And no one had slept, and someone who couldn't make the wedding just phoned in and said, is everyone just sat around killing kittens at the moment? Which we had this chat, which is slang for every time you masturbate, God kills a kitten. So killing kittens is sort of, and something just went in my head. It was like, I just liked it, and the 2Ks, it's KK, and just went, right, sod you all. I want to, I'm creating a world that's the opposite of the one we live in. I think looking back at sort of world I wish I lived in, and I had the confidence and, was brave enough to get naked in front of people and just not care what people thought, and just went, right, I'm creating a space online and offline where women can explore their sexuality, where they make the first move, they're in charge. And yeah, that's sort of how it all came about. There was no big business plan. It was a fuck you all type. It came out of anger and watch me change the world type plan.
I love it. Well, it's a fantastic story. And what really strikes me about it is it just felt right to you.
Yeah,
You know,
it
because
was. No, that's the thing. It's what's crazy. That's the thing, and people were like, "Why? Why are you doing it?" Because I wasn't in the scene. Everyone assumes I was this big shagger and swinger, or I thought, you know what I mean. Just sort of that's what I wanted to. And it, you know, I've never got involved. It's not at all. And I think that's what people couldn't get their heads around. That I was willing to get so much abuse and in the media and like lose friends
Sure.
and for something that just every bone in my body just felt and still feels that it needed rebalancing. The world needed rebalancing, and and I was going to do it. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. So look, I spend a lot of my life in creativity and innovation, and I'm definitely one of those people that I know when it's right because it just feels so good. It doesn't feel like there's another opportunity, another alternative, and it feels like with the anger and the emotion that you had, which attunes us to things that we want to spend our time on, and then that beautiful articulation of the idea, just killing kittens, and just went, here it is. I and then the rest is history, I guess. So amazing. I love that story. Thank you. So then you work with lots of people. It's not just you. You've got to get people excited and motivated, doing great work to achieve what you've achieved. So what's the single thing that you think is vital in releasing the genius of others?
I think it's creating that movement, isn't it? It's that, well, for us, it's I need people to get on board, believe the idea, and it's, so it's that energy, energy is contagious, energy, and, if you're going to get any coaches, sports coaches, whatever, you get the best out of people, it's how you deliver it. It's the energy you give them. It's inspiring. It's that build that momentum that they want to get on board. That, like, as you said, it's sort of they can't see life without it, without being part of it, and they're like, sign me up. And that's the I think that's it. It's that as everyone says, the ability to sell snow to the Eskimos type. It's that contagious energy that you have to somehow, put into your team and the people around you, so that they are fighting the same. They're fighting the same fight. In our Slack channel, we use the core team that've been around for years. Most of them over 10 years. It's named it Gladiators. So it's been Gladiators since we got Slack. When our business partner came on board in 2017 and introduced us all to Slack, and I was like, what is this? So the first channel, I named it Gladiators, and it's, I think it's that it's that team, and when you look at it in the sports thing, well, you don't, if you've got a football team, it's not all midfielders. I think that's where people go wrong a lot of the time. You hire yourself, and actually,
yes, easily done.
Really easily done. You see it all the time. They're a really lovely person, and like now, I don't even like people. It's sort of, but they're my best defender, and that's my goalkeeper, and and I benched myself a lot. I benched myself the whole of lockdown. I'm not a tech online person, so yeah. So I think it's that bit of being able to just let everyone play the positions they're in, and just
which is quite an art. I mean, the first thing you said that I loved, and I'll come back to position in a second, is you've got to get the energy right in your team, right? So what you do, and I think this is part of who you are as a person, is you live this brand, right? You are so excited about it, you're so committed to it, and therefore you show up with that enthusiasm for everything that's happening within the business. And I guess people either go, yeah, that's me, I am in, or they don't fit, right? There's not much in between.
Yeah.
And therefore you're transmitting the positivity of the mission and the vision, right? So that's going on. But then I think there's a great piece of self-awareness there, which is it's so easy to hire yourself. I mean, I've done this so many times in the past, and it's a very simple trap, isn't it? Because you're like going, oh, well, it's worked for me, and they've got my kind of values and my behaviours. If we get more of that happening, we're going to be a big, happy family. What is your trick to making sure you don't do that?
Do you know, it's really hard, and if my business partner was on this call now, it's the bane of our existence, because the nature, it's a small team, and the nature of what we do, it's really hard. It's really hard to hire, and you mentioned it, that kind of, there's no middle ground. They're in it, and they believe it, and they've been here like over a decade, or they're in and 3 months later they're out. There's for people that we had that have come in and out, and it's very obvious within a few weeks that someone doesn't fit and isn't going to. So it's really hard, and I don't think there is an easy way to do it. And you can have, you can look at CVs and have meetings with people, but you just don't know until they're in the thick of it, really. Yeah. Because there's that other thing, a lot of people are used to coming from jobs and they've been managed, and they've got, a role that's like this big, and they don't step out of that role, and they're used to being given, their work, and it's easy to hide in big corporates like that. But,
but not
and no one notices. But when you're in a small business where it's all hands on deck, and we pivot all the time, and everyone's a jack of all trades, really, because one minute we're launching something that's offline, the next minute it's all online, so everyone has to be able to adapt and just quickly, become an online person. So,
It reminds me of, so I used to do some work, but there's a guy called Dan Walker. He used to be the head of talent at Apple. And he had an amazing team for recruiting people. He reckoned it was one of the best teams on the planet for recruiting. And he reckons he was only right 50% of the time, right? So half the time he was wrong. So his thing was, you recruit people in, but then you live with them for the first couple of weeks. Because as soon as they're in the business and they're doing the work, you just know, don't you?
Yeah.
You just know.
You know within a few weeks, 100%.
You really do.
Yeah.
And therefore, he was all about, let's not spend too much time doing all this recruitment stuff. We'll get them in, we experiment, we live with them in that time, and then we know if they're in or they're not. And then it's not a debate anymore, because it's just visceral. It's like, you fit this business or you don't. It's quite
and then you have to be ruthless. That's the thing. And we're pretty much, I think it's a couple of months, really. We say you've got 3 months maximum, but as you said, within a few weeks. But if your gut is saying absolutely no, then there's just no point going, oh, well, let's just see another one. I know.
You just know. So, and I've done that before. Where we've gone, well, they're not quite, and then we've let them roll, and then eventually you pay the price. And I actually, if you're really honest about it and you live with them, in the first week, I think. It's that obvious. And so that brings me on to another question then. So there's lots of stuff in business that's really traditional, and we never challenge it. Recruitment being one of them. We get people in, we give them 3 months to prove themselves, and I think that's a terrible thing to do. I think we should know really quickly, and it should all be on a trial basis. So what are the things about traditional business that really piss you off that you think we could do differently?
I think it's probably something like going on from what I said just now, that it's rigid. That tradition is like, this is your role, this is your job
descriptions.
And this is, and that's the thing. There's no room for that creativity. There's no room for everyone to be mini entrepreneurs and come up with ideas. It's like, this is your job. This is what you're doing. I don't want to hear opinions. It's it's like tick boxes. It's in the same way. It's kind of the bugbear of just education. The schooling system is so sort of Victorian age, industrial revolution, isn't it? Sort of like just worker bees, you do what you're told, this is the way it's going to happen, and you can't question it, and you'll read these books, you'll study this, and there's no room for the sitting there and being creative and having the big the big chats where you let everyone speak and see what anyone comes up with.
And the way the world is now, and the way it's changing, as yours has, obviously through lockdown and then beyond. The whole idea of rigid structures and rigid identities and performance management around job descriptions. I mean, it's a very old-fashioned way of thinking about things, because we don't even know what's happening next week. The way things are shifting. So we need our people to be able to deal with that and flex, as you say. And are there any? Apart from recruitment. Are there any other secrets to making sure you get that fluidity in your business?
I think I mean, for us, because we're evolving, is we do include, we include everyone a lot.
Right.
If we've got a little bit, of a new idea, me or had, and that's why this is why it's showing I'll do it. It's not a case of me and him are right. This is what we're doing, and it is right. Got an idea, and what he's very good at is he'll put the idea into a detail, into like a deck that kind of, these are the thoughts. It'll be sent out to everyone, and everyone can comment on the document. Everyone can comment on it or put their thoughts, and then we have a big corner. I mean, including all our developers. So all our developers out, and so sometimes between 10 and 20 developers. They're all out in Eastern Europe. Most of them, they all come on the call. Everyone's on, and it's very much right. What do you think? What do you think? Before we say anything, and that's So that's the big thing that we do is letting everyone be involved. We kind of know it's that positioning that we kind of know what route we want to take, but it's
Sure.
throwing it out there. But also there's people will come up with things that we haven't thought of, or throw in different other new ideas, and because it is a massive tech platform as well that we've got, that there's so many different that side of it is constantly up for discussion of where the pay points are, whether it's in app, whether it's out of app, what's working, what's not, and then analysing all the data. It's sort of, we just for us it's including everyone, and as I said, it's everyone's little mini entrepreneurs, little kind of that actually they're part of it, they're part of that, of the movement and the new business and us changing the world. You want them all to everyone to feel part of it, rather than right, this is this is your job and tick the boxes, and we're big on, I call it all fart no poo, which you get a lot of, and we've had people come in and you can see it, they're used to doing spreadsheets after spreadsheets and document after document and plan after plan, and don't get anything done. And it's that's a good plan, but it's like 5 months of doing these plans, but we're launching a product, and when are you actually gonna? That side of it. We're very kind of we're doers, and even if you fail, we just want to see it being done, something being launched, something being tried, and that's the thing. Failure is like, well, at least they tried. If someone's failed at something, at least they've tried, which is more than 90% of the population would do. So yeah,
And it's amazingly powerful. I mean, having a company of doers where we'll get things wrong. That's just the nature of it, but we learn from it and move forward. It's a very different energy to a thinking culture, as you described. I also really liked. You obviously get people to care a lot about what they're doing and why they're doing it. And I think the one way to destroy people's motivation is to give them something they care about and not give them a say. But what you do is you include people, so they care and they can use their own agency to make stuff happen, which then means you complete the cycle. So you've got motivated people using their talents on stuff they really, really get some meaning from.
Yeah, and that we've got people. Some of our team, started as members, or we're one, but she left last year. Actually, she started as our au pair when she was 18,
Right.
from Poland, never left Poland, didn't speak a word of English, and then she did some events work to get some extra money, and she was really on it, really organised, and she just slowly, and then when we moved and didn't need an au pair, she became all events, and then she became the events director, left, and then she became the main events director. Until last year, because she's moved back to Poland, and so yeah, she was involved for 10 years, but she went from our 18-year-old au pair to the main events director. So it's it's kind of and a lot of the ones who've been there a long time have sort of it's that kind of, would rather look into people's souls and who they are and their skill set as humans, and how you can use that in a workplace. That to me is worth more than experience a lot of the time.
Yeah, I agree. And talent's everywhere. You know, if you tune into it, you will find people in all walks of life all around you who would be amazing in your business if you just open your mind to how they can add value, and how they can fit in. That's a lovely story. 10 years in the business, started as an au pair.
Yeah.
I mean, that you can never plan that, right?
No, not at all. And our events person now, I mean, she started as a member, and she was actually quite severely disabled, and was a member, coming. I remember in a wheelchair and a really bad back issues, and then so that got sorted, and she became one of the party hostess, and then helping out on events, and now she stepped in to take over the event.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so there's a lot of the staff is sort of have come, have started in one place, and
Lovely to hear. But you have to have quite a good touch and feel for that. You have to be in the business. You have to be able to notice what people are doing, how their energy is actually adding value in different kind of areas. So, you're obviously well connected to it. Now, talking of which, I'll be interested in your answer to this question. So my final question. So what gives you hope, Emma?
Do you know what gives me hope every day? I think the kids, my 3 kids, help give me hope, because I've got 2 girls as well. Who are 7 and 9, and I look at how they talk and how they act and what they're doing, and they're big sports kids, and they were having a debate the other day. They were having a debate whether one of them was like, I don't know whether I want to play basketball for my job, as a job, or be a cricketer. I could be a footballer, but I think basketball has more money, and this is a 9-year-old. I mean, she's amazing. And she went, but I could be, but then maybe I could be a basketball player and be a vet. And it's like, that gives me hope when I hear the little conversations going on that I never had, because I didn't think it was possible, and that they genuinely think that that's possible, and it is genuinely possible. And that, that's the thing. I think that, that gives me hope when you stand back and see. It's very, hard when you're in the thick of it. We've been in the thick of it for 20 years to not see the change. So I make myself stand back sometimes and look at what we've done in 20 years and what's changed, how women have changed, and how, that shame, and, the progress. So, and it's there. It's slow, but it's it's there, and that gives me hope that, we're still, doesn't matter about the noise of, the big, the white noise of the world and the crazies out there at the moment. We're still moving forward. So, and I still have 2 little girls that think they can go and rule the world. So I'll take it.
Hallelujah for that. Amazing. And it must be incredibly satisfying. I mean, what you've achieved, over those 20 years, the confidence and the energy that is now in people's lives as a result is amazing. So, it must feel good to see that, and actually to have that in your family. That's very gratifying. So what's next? What have you got that's coming up that's exciting, Emma?
We've launched KK Cruises and Retreats. So we've got our first. I know.
Cool.
Travel company. So our first cruise is in June. I've never been on a cruise, so I'm like, well, I'll go on my own cruise. In June is the first one, and then one next year, and 3 in 28. So, that's the big thing this year. We just launched KK Club, which is more of a kind of membership. Kind of you pay, to be a member, and you can use the points on, tickets in the O2 box or sporting events or dinner. It's the big community side of it that we're now hitting up. So,
Amazing. It just keeps developing. Well, look, it's so nice to talk to you. I love your energy. I love what you've been doing. Some wonderful nuggets in that one. Thank you, Emma. And look, good luck for the next 20 years.
Thank you.